If you've stumbled across this video, I'm guessing you're looking to leave Florida and you're considering a move to Raleigh, North Carolina, but you just don't know what to expect. Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Matt Martin, and I'm a local realtor here in the Raleigh area. I've helped tons of clients relocate to the Triangle region, and if you're looking to do the same, I'd love to help you too. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe right down below. The Triangle is growing immensely, and Floridians actually made up the largest group moving here in 2022, nearly 35,000 of you. So why is everyone moving here and what's it like? Let's start off with an obvious disclaimer. Florida is huge, so of course there isn't a one-size-fits-all comparison that can be done. So where it's relevant to compare city to city, I'm gonna focus on the major metros in Florida like Sarasota, Tampa, and Miami. So let's get the big one out of the way first. The thing I keep hearing people talking about when they're leaving Florida, and that's the ballooning cost of living. This includes everything from taxes to home costs to those insane insurance premiums. Yes, Florida is known for not having any state income taxes, which of course is hugely appealing to many residents, whereas North Carolina has a state income tax of 4.75%. But that doesn't tell the full story. While sales taxes are pretty consistent between Raleigh and the various cities in Florida, property taxes here tend to be much lower. Here, they average about 1% of property value. So your annual bill will be about $5,000 on a $500,000 house. Miami sits just above 2%, so your bill would be more than double at least $10,000. Sarasota is around 1.4%, resulting in a tax bill of over $7,000. And Tampa is around 1.2%, resulting in a tax bill of about $6,000. And speaking of home values, these hotspots in Florida are much more expensive than Raleigh. In fact, the recent Council for Community and Economic Research's Cost of Living Index put Raleigh's housing market at about 38% higher than the national average, versus Miami at 70% and Sarasota at 48%. So what's that mean in real numbers? Well, the median home price in Raleigh is about $460,000 versus Sarasota's $510,000 versus Miami's $593,000. And Raleigh homes sell for a median price per square foot of $217 to Sarasota's $302 to Miami's $393. So based on these median price per square foot prices, a 25 square foot home in Raleigh on average would run you about $550,000 versus $755,000 in Sarasota, a $200,000 difference, and a whopping $982,500 in Miami, over $400,000 more than in Raleigh. Of course, homes in highly desirable areas will far exceed these numbers in all of these cities. But that's not the end of it. If you've read any of the headlines, you'll know that homeowners insurance rates have gone through the roof in Florida in recent years. In fact, according to the Insurance Information Institute, homeowners insurance has increased 102% in the last 3 years in Florida and costs 3 times more than the national average. That puts the average annual premium in Florida at a staggering $6,000. But many who live there will tell you stories of much higher numbers, especially those living anywhere near the water. On the other hand, the average insurance premium in Raleigh is around $1,700 per year, or more than 3 times cheaper. So not only will your house cost you less in Raleigh, but you'll also be paying lower property taxes and lower insurance premiums. That's a whole lot of savings to offset the lack of income taxes in Florida. Okay, on to another biggie, the weather. Of course, Florida is known for having year-round warm weather and beautiful beaches. It's what draws so many people there. But a lot of people I talk to who are leaving Florida for North Carolina are looking for a place that has a bit more variety in climate. In fact, we've seen a trend in what we refer to as halfbackers moving here. Those are northerners who moved to Florida for the warm weather, only to realize that while they didn't miss the 6 months of winter, they still missed the season. So they move halfway back up, landing smack dab in the Raleigh area of North Carolina. If that's you and you want to experience 4 full seasons again, but a shorter summer than you're used to in Florida, Well, Raleigh's the spot. Don't worry if you love the hot summers, we've still got them. But the worst of it only lasts for a couple months, and our average temperature never breaks into the 90s. And we only average 80 or above from June to September, compared to April through October or even November in many parts of Florida. So if you're moving here from Florida, our summers will feel much shorter and a bit more mild. But if you're then looking to break out your sweaters and want to experience winter without all the snow shoveling, Raleigh has you covered there too. Raleigh does drop into the 20s and 30s during the winter, and it occasionally even snows, but we only get about 4 to 5 inches per year, and it usually melts the next day. And we haven't seen a flake of snow in over 2 years here in the city. But if you're looking for more snow, we're just a few hours drive away from the insanely beautiful Appalachian Mountains, which I'll talk about a little later. Our dog Boomer absolutely loves the snow, so we try to take at least one trip to the mountains every year. Another biggie, the food and culture. One of the things we love about the Triangle is its booming food and brewery scene. While traditional Southern specialties like barbecue abound, you'll also find a wealth of culturally diverse cuisines and top-tier talent. In fact, chef and restaurateur Chidi Kumar's newest Raleigh restaurant, Aja, was just named by Esquire magazine as one of the top 25 best new restaurants in the entire country. And two-time James Beard Award winner Ashley Christensen always impresses across her multiple restaurants here, my favorites being Pool's Diner and Death and Taxes. The Triangle also has a huge local beer and cider scene across the over 40 breweries here, many that welcome your human and fur babies. And given the great weather I already talked about, you can enjoy the outdoor spaces at these breweries pretty much year round. Culturally, there are so many things to do. Raleigh hosts First Friday on the first Friday of every month, where multiple galleries downtown open their doors so you can meet the artists, see their work, and sip and stroll with some adult beverages. And that reminds me, Raleigh, Cary, and Durham now have sip and stroll districts that allow for open containers in designated portions of their downtowns. If you're in the mood for a Broadway show, check out the Durham Performing Arts Center, or DPAC, which consistently ranks among the best theaters in the country and hosts all the major touring shows. Or if music is more your thing, there are tons of live music venues from Red Hat and Coastal Credit Union amphitheaters to PNC Arena. And every spring, Dorothea Dix Park is home to J. Cole's 2-day Dreamville Festival, which this year is featuring Nicki Minaj as its headliner. So if you're relocating from Florida to Raleigh, I promise you'll still find great food and a ton of cultural offerings. The next thing people love about moving here is the access to the outdoors. It's funny, every local we talked to before moving here had the same thing to say about why they love Raleigh. We're just 2 hours from the beach and 3 hours from the mountains. I swear, it's like you get a script when you're new to Raleigh. Yes, Florida has great beaches, and I won't try to argue that North Carolina's are better, but at least when you move here, you will still have easy access to get your saltwater fix. One thing we have that Florida is definitely not known for are our insanely beautiful mountains. I'll admit, I was super hesitant on our first trip to the mountains. I'm convinced that the gorgeous Appalachian Mountains we'd heard so much about were going to be anything more than some rolling hills, but I was totally wrong. They are real and they're breathtaking. And if you head up in October when the leaves are changing, there's really nothing else like it. If lake life is more your thing, we have Jordan Lake and Falls Lake, both of which are about a 20-minute drive from downtown Raleigh and allow motorized boats. Lake Gaston is about an hour north on the Virginia border. And then Lake Norman is the crown jewel of the Charlotte area, just about 2.5 hours away. Raleigh is also home to a 180+ mile network of greenway trails for biking, hiking, or just strolling. And Dorothea Dix Park is a beautiful 300-acre park right next to downtown, which we're in multiple times a week with our dog, and it's one of his favorite places in Raleigh. And while we're on the subject of outdoors, no video about moving to the Triangle would be complete without talking about the trees, the trees, the trees. Raleigh is called the City of Oaks for a reason, and the one thing everyone comments on when they first visit is the incredible greenery. Yes, Florida has palm trees, but Raleigh is such a beautifully lush city, and it's really unlike anything I've seen in the rest of the country. Okay, one last thing, getting around town. One thing I've witnessed as I've visited Florida over the years is how bad the traffic has gotten as the cities have exploded. And just like Raleigh, many cities in Florida lack high ridership public transportation options. Even so, traffic in Raleigh is much lighter than you'll find in many of the major metros in Florida. It is almost mandatory to have a car in the Triangle, and despite the city making inroads on installing more bike lanes, expanding the scooter network, and developing a bus rapid transit system, there is no light rail to easily connect the major hubs of the Triangle. Because of this, traffic is on the rise, but it's nothing like what you'd find in many of Florida's major cities. The good news is the state is spending billions of dollars expanding our highway and freeway system. Of course, moving across the country is always a huge decision, but if you're looking to swap out Florida for the Triangle region of North Carolina, you'll find a cheaper cost of living that's still packed full of culture, well-educated people, access to the great outdoors, and has much more temperate weather. If you've moved to the Triangle from Florida, I'd love to hear about your experience. Leave me a comment below about how the move has been for you and maybe what surprised you the most or what you love the most about living here. And if you're looking to move to Raleigh, be it from Florida or anywhere else, I'd love to connect. All my contact information is included right below.